Lin Xian, who had been busy all day, returned home and turned on the TV that was struck by lightning 3 years ago. From then on, he has been admired throughout history. Play the peak battle between Wang Xianji and Li Chungang in the city of Emperor Wu. Throughout history, they have been amazed by the existence of immortals. Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered Su Fu to accelerate the speed of alchemy, and he wanted to rank in the immortal class as soon as possible. Playing and making various delicacies, it has been coveted throughout history, and the people have tasted better than the emperors. It is truly a fairyland. Kangxi swore to ensure that the people of the Qin dynasty had enough to eat. Playing spring plowing and autumn harvest, the emperors each had their own thoughts and sent people to study various tools and rice seeds. Playing the Great Transformation fashion show, admiring men from all dynasties and standing tall one by one. The little Qiao in Cao Cao's arms and the Jiao Chan by Lu Bu's side instantly lost their fragrance. The director of the famous medical museum described the 8 flavors divine whip soup as extravagant, traveling thousands of miles a day, with only plowed land and no dead cows. Kings of all dynasties stood up and touched their waists, saying in unison, "Someone, pass on the imperial physician. I want to drink the 8 flavors divine whip soup." From then on, women from all dynasties suffered. Falun Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Magical heavenly curtain appears in different dynasties and generations, shocked. You are listening at novelfull.audio. New Year's Eve. After a busy day, delivery man Lin Xian returned to his rental room and saw the TV that had been struck by lightning 3 years ago. Suddenly, he had an impulse to watch TV. He plugged in the socket, turned on the TV, and wanted to try his luck. As a result, there was no movement on the TV and the whiteboard remained the same. Sleeping trough, if you have time, sell this scrap iron and leave it here to occupy space. At least you can exchange it for a few bowls of instant noodles to satisfy your hunger. After speaking, Lin Xian turned around and went to brew a cup of tea, lying on the rocking chair to rest. Without his knowledge, there was a commotion on the TV. Zzz. Surprisingly, snowflakes appeared on the TV screen and the sound was very noisy. What's going on? Lin Xian looked up and looked bewildered. Is it difficult? Is the TV good again? I only saw snowflakes slowly turning into vertical lines, constantly twisting back and forth. I'll go. I've been working on it for a while, but it's still bad. Feeling lonely. Just as Lin Xian thought so, the TV screen turned white again. Just as Lin Xian frowned again, all dynasties exploded. The Qin. Emperor Yingzheng was studying with a group of generals how to expand his power, and there was a movement in the sky. Well, the sky curtain has existed for 3 years without any movement. Why did it suddenly snow today? Yingzheng looked bewildered. Not good, it also thundered. This is an anomaly. I don't know if it's an auspicious sign or... Dog-legged Zhao Gao was very intelligent and immediately interrupted, saying, Your Majesty, auspicious snow signifies a bountiful year, and lightning eliminates demons and demons. This is a good omen. A group of great generals immediately knelt down and agreed in unison, this is a good omen. Heaven blesses our great Qin. I am willing to go on an expedition for my country. 3 kingdoms. Cao Cao was warming up with other wives and concubines, doing unknown stretching exercises when suddenly he felt a burst of. Someone, let the Prime Minister enter the palace. The 3 brothers Liu Bei were drinking and celebrating when they saw a strange sight in the sky. Liu Bei said, This is an auspicious sign. We must do a great job well. Guan Yu said, Big Brother said, That's exactly what I meant. Zhang Fei. Western Han Dynasty. Liu Bangjing and LVG are enjoying the joy of family. Liu Bang. Madam, is the appearance of a vision good or bad for me, a great man? Lug. The great Han dynasty went through countless hardships to establish itself. It has a history of countless generations and is afraid of a vision. Besides, having a natural anomaly is definitely a good thing. Emperor Taizong of Tang, Li Shiming, is reviewing the memorial. Uncle Bao, what does this mean? It's not like those unjust souls are coming to claim their lives again. Qin Shi Huang looked up and said, Your Majesty, don't be afraid. They dare not approach me with me. Kublai Khan is expanding with his army. Ha ha ha, heaven helped us during the Yuan dynasty, but there was a strange phenomenon. The more difficult the conditions were, the stronger the momentum of our army. Kill. Not keeping one. Zhu Yuanzhang is anxious about the lack of food for the common people. Oh my goodness, open your eyes. It's snowflakes and lightning, are you still letting the people of the Ming dynasty live? De Qing. Kangxi was leading various civil and military officials to eat bran and drink diluted food when he suddenly saw a vision. Look, the heavens are starting to get angry when they see us wasting food. It's snowflakes and lightning again. If we don't know how to save food, we will be struck by lightning. From tomorrow onwards, civil and military officials will eat bran and drink diluted for a month. If anyone dares to resist the decree, they will destroy the 9 tribes. Cixi was rolling sheets with Xiaobai when she saw the sky break and was startled. Oh my goodness, the late Qing dynasty has already become like this. You still have to beat the water dog in pain, it's unfair to us in the late Qing dynasty. Looking at Lin Xian standing up again, he walked towards the set-top box. Then I saw that there was a problem with the wiring of the set-top box, and the mischievous mouse bit off a wire. Is it difficult or is the problem here? He casually answered without much hope. Who knew that the TV flickered a few times, but it turned on. I'll go. Excited. This can still be seen. With a swipe, the TV is functioning normally. It is the TV drama channel that broadcasts the scene of Wang Xianji and Li Chuangang's peak battle in the city of Emperor Wu during the fierce sword battle in the snow. Lying trough. Great. Coming on stage is the pinnacle, and a single sword ignites the climax of the entire drama. Countless iron swords, instantly possessing spirituality, quickly flew up. Li Chungang, wearing tattered clothes and tattered grass shoes, walked step by step towards the sky. I really have a feeling of being ethereal. Then Wang Xianji smiled and used her water power to lift herself up, reaching the same height as Li Chungang and opposing each other. After a few moves, everyone looked lonely. Double up in the clouds. Lin Xian gave his mouth a smack. The special effects of this paragraph, although a bit lacking in feeling. But it's full of charm and never gets tired of watching. It's my favorite paragraph, if I could replay it again, it would be great. At this moment, something unknown to Lin Xian happened. All emperors throughout history have started to go crazy. Chapter 2. Mad demons from dynasties to dynasties, stupid roosters one by one. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Emperor Qin Shi Huang looked at the scene in the sky, dumbfounded on the spot. This. That. There are really immortals in the world. Zhao Gao, hurry up and send someone to find Su Fu. Let him find the elixir and refine the elixir. I want to become an immortal and immortal. Meng Tian looked bewildered, he didn't believe these things. But when he saw the real immortal, he was also dumbfounded. No matter how powerful the generals are, they cannot be compared to immortals and are not worthy of lifting their shoes. Cao Cao said, sleeping trough, there are really immortals in the world. Once upon a time, I even laughed at Qin Shi Huang's actions as too crazy. Who knew I was too childish? Sun Quan said, someone, go find the elixir for me. I want to become an immortal. Liu Bei glanced at Guan Yu and said with a caring tone. When second brother fights in the future, don't underestimate the enemy. Previously, there was only one Lu Bu, but now there are many more immortals. You must be cautious when dealing with them. Guan Yu's old face turned red. He thought that as long as Lv died, he could dominate the throne. It's not worth mentioning that everyone is a top seller. Now it seems that his dream has been shattered. It's true that there are people on earth, and there are heavens beyond. Lu Bang glanced at Lvg and said, "Madam, can you handle these two immortals? If you can use them for yourself, our Han dynasty will surely pass them down for centuries. The beauty of Lvg is 1 in a million. There are too many men subservient to her. But to make her take the immortal as her crotch, she really doesn't have the ability. I only saw her stuttering and saying, 'Well, I'll figure out a way to see if I can accept it.'" Lu Xiu looked at the sky curtain and kept pressuring, "Sure, you are really excellent. Is that you?" Confused Lord Yang Guang looked at the beautiful woman in his arms with a disdainful expression on his face. No matter how powerful the immortal is, what's the point? He can't accompany me to warm my bed. What's the use of it? Come on, Guangxiu Palace. I want to sleep with all the beauties in the world. Li Shiming was very excited and looked at Qin Shi Bao next to him. "Uncle Bao, what do you think?" The commotion just now was not a punishment of evil, but a battle of immortals. If immortals could be used as their own, the entire Tang dynasty would be unbeatable. At that time, we will usher in the true prosperous era of the Tang dynasty. Qin Shi Bao rubbed his head and said speechlessly, "This is not easy to handle. The only way is to ask Li Jing to take action and see if he has a solid chance. As ordinary people, we cannot touch it." Wan Yanaguda is chatting with Guo Jing. "Anda, how do you understand the matter of immortals? Can you subdue your 18 dragon subduing palms?" Guo Jing is like eating a dead mouse, unable to speak for a while. The 18 dragon subduing palms are a very impressive presence among ordinary people, capable of dominating the entire Central Plains. But compared to immortals, that's nothing. Khan, you're not at the same level, there's no comparison. My 18 dragon subduing palms are just an internal force. Where can I compare to a fairy's magic? Kublai Khan's iron cavalry is invincible in the world. But when he saw the fairy, his head was a bit depleted. The whole army is in a state of alert, try to find obstructions to cover it up, otherwise the whole army will be destroyed. The Iron Man Kublai Khan was intimidated, and the Iron Cavalry Legion was frightened and evaded everywhere. The timid ones have already begun to crawl on the ground, afraid to make any movement. Zhu Yuanzhang was wholeheartedly concerned about the people. Upon seeing the immortal, he immediately led 100 civil and military officials to kneel and worship towards the sky. "Immortal above, please accept little Zhu's worship. I hope you can bless the people of the Ming dynasty with worry-free food and clothing, as the Ming dynasty becomes increasingly powerful. In the future, it will come to fruition. I will slaughter pigs and sheep to worship you." Kangxi drank a bowl of thin bran and threw it aside. The immortal appeared, "Please bless the people of the Qin dynasty to have enough to eat. I am willing to pay any price for it, even if it means taking my life." Empress Dowager Cixi felt like she had encountered a rescuer and immediately ordered Li Hongzhang to open the national treasury and remove all the sparkling jewels. The immortal is above, and the old woman only has these treasures. Please do not harm the life of the elderly woman. As long as she lives, she will plunder all the people's wealth and make you prosperous. The old lady can also offer you peace by ceding territory. Please accept her kindness. If you don't mind, I can also make a commitment to you. Technically, I guarantee your satisfaction. Lin Xian is basically fully aware of the upcoming plot. It's meaningless to continue reading. I only saw him holding the remote control and pressing the channel switch button. Coincidentally, it's the food channel, which displays a few big characters. Food is the top priority for the people. Throughout history, I have been confused. Just now, it was a battle between immortals. Immediately, a common people prioritize food. Is it difficult to become a fairy world, and there are also people? Do immortals in the immortal world also need to eat? Isn't it all about immortality? Qin Shi's spirit was tense, constantly bowing to the sky. Immortal, it's true to by divine beings. It is exactly the same as I thought. Food is the most important thing for the people, and the country is people-oriented. I have been educated in a well-off society. Chapter 3. Food is the paramount necessity of the people, which has made emperors and emperors of different dynasties realize the importance of food. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Civil and military officials eat and drink thin bran, and spray bran all over their mouths. It's like a pig defecating without wiping its butt, as disgusting as it is. But they can't care about so much, they just keep kowtowing, kneeling, and praising. Heaven bless me, Qing. I hope the immortal can give Qing a clear path and make him stronger. Immortal, I am willing to use my wives and concubines as my name. If you are willing to give me a clear path, I am willing to offer all the wives and concubines around me for you to choose from. Immortal Majesty, immortal. Zhu Yuanzhang smiled. Couldn't it be that his sincerity moved heaven, and he actually achieved his wish? Come on, kill pigs and sheep, worship immortals. Kublai Khan had a bewildered expression on his face. His campaign is aimed at killing and looting everything, with the goal of continuous warfare. I never think of the comfort of the people of other countries. Focusing solely on the reputation of the Iron Cavalry. Now that he sees that food is the top priority for the people, he thinks that the country is based on the people, and he seems to have a thorough understanding. Come on, change the battle plan. The main strategy for fighting in Eastern Europe should not be to kill and seize everything. This will ultimately only consume our military personnel, and it won't be long before the entire army is destroyed. The gains outweigh the losses. We need to change to plundering everything, whether it's food, beauty, property, or men. We can't let go of any of them. Grain is used for food, livestock are used as stock, and beautiful women are used to breed offspring. The property is used for the development of requisitioned land. Men are used as slaves and vanguards to unleash their rightful afterglow. This will reduce our army's population loss and promote the reputation of our Iron Cavalry Legion in combat. Kublai Khan's consciousness led the Yuan dynasty into a different prosperous era. Li Shiming realized. Food is paramount to the people, and the country is based on the people. Food is the king of a country. Eat and drink enough, strengthen people's livelihoods. The people's livelihood is strong, and the country is strong. Come on, serve some delicious food. I'm hungry. Evil is nothing, I'm full of food and drink, and no one can do anything about me. Lu Xiu. Sure, I want to eat delicious food. Liu Bei laughed heartily, picked up the grilled meat in his hand, and gave it to Zhang Fei and Guan Yu. Brother, eat. Zhang Fei chuckled and said, Big brother, cheers. Guan Yu nodded and took a big bite, saying, Damn it. Chow Chow felt that the woman in his arms was no longer fragrant, and immediately let out a loud roar. Come on, serve delicious wine and food. Qin Shi Huang kept his mouth shut and muttered to himself. Immortals should emphasize that food is the top priority for the people, so I also need to learn a little. Eating and drinking well is the king's way, maybe one day they will become immortals. Immortal pills and miraculous medicines, those things are really rare, it's hard to find a single medicine. Serve the dishes, I have to eat. Lin Xian was already a bit hungry, so he stopped changing channels and only saw various delicious dishes being showcased. Xinjiang large plate chicken, with a variety of colors, flavors, and flavors. Hubei duck neck, with a strong taste. Gansu Lanzhou Lamian noodles is full of strength. Cat's ears, steamed cat. Ear-shaped bread, in Zhejiang are not better than ears. Daoshao noodles are full of taste. Chongqing sour and spicy noodles, with a pleasant taste of sourness and spiciness. Changsha stinky tofu smells bad and tastes delicious. Luosafen in Liuzhou, Guangxi, makes you doubt life after eating it. It's convenient. Lin Xian has released halakos, which are all delicacies from various provinces. Who can resist them? But does he have the strength? He took out a bag of instant noodles and smiled. This is the flavor of the old pickled Chinese cabbage beef noodles. The customs of each province, the people of each province, and the cuisine of each province all appear one by one on the TV screen. Each dynasty and generation opens their mouths, not knowing what to say. Qin Shi Huang was eating pancakes and felt that the pancakes in his mouth were no longer fragrant. Damn it, I finally understand. Where is this fairy? This is exactly the dynasty where the great Qin was born, although the place names of provinces and cities are different. The folk customs depend on it. Isn't the great Qin ruling the world? Why are there still dynasties of reproduction, and why is this? Is it difficult for me not to become an immortal, but to die in the tide of history? After hesitating for a moment, Qin Shi Huang glared at Su Fu as he slowly approached him. Su Fu, I have ordered you to lead 3,000 boys and girls to the Liuli Sea. Search for longevity medicinal herbs and refine elixirs. If you cannot refine elixirs, you will never return to Qin. Su Fu was startled. Still anxious about not being able to refine pills. Who knows that Emperor Qin Shi Huang asked him to leave the great Qin, isn't this giving him a chance to be reborn? I was extremely happy in my heart, but my face showed sadness. King, I can't bear to part with you. Emperor Qin Shi Huang looked stern and glared at Su Fu again. Su Fu immediately shut up and didn't dare to force him anymore. Only the submissive one spoke up, no. Chow Chow took a bite of roasted chicken and threw it directly on the ground. Someone, I want to eat sour and spicy noodles. Roasted chicken is so useless, how should I eat it? Liu Bei took a bite of the barbecue and felt like chewing wax. Second brother, third brother, in the future we must pay attention to taste and treat ourselves well. Without this strength now, we can only reluctantly eat some. Zhang Fei is just a foodie, who has long been gazing at the delicious food in the sky, emitting long saliva. I thought barbecue was the best, but now it seems that he is ignorant and ignorant. I thought this way in my heart, but I couldn't chill Liu Bei's heart. I had to go against my conscience and say. Big brother, what are you saying? I don't care, Big Black. As long as it's done by you. Whether it's grilled meat or lettuce, it still smells good. Chapter 4. Grain can still be grown in this way, God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Fei didn't speak the truth, but Guan Yu spoke out. Alas, the descendants of the future generations eat so well that they have a better taste than us, envy me. Liu Bang took a sip of wine and then took a bite of the dishes stir-fried by the imperial chef, feeling a bit unhappy in his heart. Food is the paramount necessity of the people, and they all live such a good life, which is truly a fairyland. No, I misunderstood. This should be for future generations. The descendants of future generations eat better than me, should I reflect on it? LVG remained silent beside her. She was the empress of the great Han dynasty, a presence below one person and above 10,000 people. She started to feel jealous. Why is she not as good as a commoner? It seems she needs to think carefully. Lu Xiu. Sure, I'm here again. The food is really good, and it's really good to be good to everyone. Before Li Shiming could even wait for the imperial chef to cook the delicious food, he felt his stomach growling with hunger. Uncle Bao, please remember the names of those delicious foods for me. I want the imperial chef to make them all for me to eat. No. It should be for everyone to learn how to make it for everyone to eat. The Tang dynasty is a prosperous era. Why can't I, the people of the Tang dynasty, compare to the descendants? I need to reflect carefully. Should we accelerate the development of the people and improve their quality of life on the surface? Qin Shi Huang had nothing, but secretly he remembered every dish. Prepare to go back and study carefully afterwards to see if you can learn these delicious foods. So that Li Shiming can be happy and happy. Wanyan Agu glanced at Guo Jing and said. Ada, how do you feel about me, Dakin? Why is it still inferior to future generations? Is it difficult? Is it difficult? Am I really lagging behind? Guo Jing had a bewildered expression on his face. As a martial artist, he knew nothing but stuttered and said. Ada, isn't it just food? We also have it at Dakin, so don't worry. That's what I said on my lips, but in my heart, I was thinking to go back and ask Huang Rong to make something delicious for him. Even in terms of taste, it's not as good as the delicious food on the sky. It looks similar in 3 ways, which is also pretty good. Zhao Kuanyin spat and looked at the woman beside him. Someone, I want to eat delicious food. If I can't cook it well, I won't eat anything. Li Yuan looked at the old woman beside him with a look of disgust. Not only does it look unattractive, but it also doesn't taste good when cooked or eaten. Abdication and giving way to the virtuous is really not something that people do. Kublai Khan glanced at the knightly legion beside him, then turned his head to look at a country not far away. Someone, come on, make sure to grab all of them. Hot Kong, women, delicious food, prosperity and wealth are waiting for us, killing. Undoubtedly, he is the emperor who fought against Europe, but it is different. There is an evil aura emanating from within, making people unable to stop. Huang Taiji couldn't bear to watch anymore. The Qin dynasty was so powerful that he directly defeated the Ming dynasty. When was he defeated by the delicious food? But the Qin dynasty really doesn't have any delicious food to offer. I only saw him looking at the noble concubine beside me and saying, "Love concubine, how is the milk food and warm nourishment? I want to taste it in advance." The noble consort blushed and lowered her head to look at her. Here. I am truly the founder of Aizen-joro, playing with flowers. Kangxi felt too much stomach acid, and the bran he ate was about to vomit out. Compared to delicious food, sparse bran is nothing but dregs. He forcefully swallowed a mouthful of water, swallowed the thin bran, and let out a loud roar. Food is the paramount necessity of the people, and a prosperous and strong country has everything. Someone, come on. Thoroughly investigate corrupt officials and leave no one behind. The hundreds of civil and military officials kneeling were immediately startled. Eating bran and drinking thin can still lead to a thorough investigation of corrupt officials. It seems that your majesty has truly fully understood. Trembling one by one. It seems that we will suffer this time. Sony looked at the sky with a smile, thinking that it was very likely that Qin would become stronger and his son-in-law would become enlightened. God bless Qin. Cixi looked at the sky with a lewd expression, muttering to herself. The late Qin dynasty was so powerful, can future generations still be so prosperous? What the hell is going on here? Is it difficult for the late Halal to die? If that's the case, why not reform and develop the Qin dynasty? Empress Dowager Cixi thought of Li Hongzhang and shouted loudly outside the hall, "Tell Li Hongzhang to defend the country's gates and persevere. Although the food is good, if you can't taste it, it's torture." Fortunately, there is a bucket of instant noodles and preserved fruits, otherwise it would be really frustrating. Lin Xian was eating instant noodles while watching delicious food. I suddenly feel that the instant noodles are not fragrant anymore. It seems like we need to switch channels, otherwise we won't be able to eat instant noodles. The channel is switching again, and the technology channel is playing spring plowing and autumn harvest. Although it is still winter now, spring is not far away. It's time to learn some planting techniques. I only saw good fields filled with water, and then a large farming machine appeared. A dozen or so acres of good fields were already cultivated in several circles. Following that was a large irrigation machine, constantly watering. A transplanter appeared, and after a few rounds, it had already become a fertile field filled with green and oily seedlings. Chapter 5. The People's Livelihood in the Mind of Emperors Throughout Dynasties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Then it's about cheating. As spring passed and autumn came, the spraying machine sprayed insecticides and herbicides several times in the middle. The seedlings are growing rapidly and blossoming. In the blink of an eye in autumn, fruitful fruits hang on the straw, followed by the arrival of the harvester. After a few rounds, the millet on more than 10 acres of land was all collected. Hemp bags were piled up in the grain drying field, celebrating the autumn harvest. Sing loudly. Harvesting tens of thousands of kilograms of grain on 10 acres of land is just the most common autumn harvest. This result is just ordinary in the real world. Everyone is used to it. But throughout the dynasties, all emperors have entered into contemplation. Qin stood up and constantly questioned. Impossible, impossible, absolutely impossible. How could the harvest of rice in later generations be so good? In the late Qin dynasty, rice was planted on an acre of land, with a maximum weight of over 200 kilograms, and there were many people who weighed tens or even hundreds of kilograms less. How could it be possible for future generations to produce over 1,000 kilograms per mu, and how was this achieved? Is the difficulty caused by immortals? Qianlong conducted a private visit in his micro-attire and witnessed this scene. Food is the paramount necessity of the people, and food is the foundation of the country. When I go back, I must have people study planting carefully. See if we can develop the autumn harvest of the Qin dynasty. In this way, we can create a prosperous era of the Qin dynasty, so that grandpa's hard work will not be wasted. Qin Shi looked at the sky curtain and thought to himself. This is the future, this is the prosperous era. This kind of planting technology, if we can't get rich, it's really hard to justify it. Eating well is for a reason. The other party is planting well. In that case, we need to carefully consider how to develop the planting industry in Daqing. After hesitating for a moment, Qin Shi looked at the Secretary for Agriculture. Most of the people from the Agriculture Department are here, right? Don't you have any explanation? Go back and study carefully what future generations can achieve. Why can later generations achieve it, but not our Qin dynasty? Shouldn't you reflect on yourself? I will give you 3 years. You must study the autumn harvest rice for me, otherwise all 9 tribes will be destroyed. Zhu Yuxiao looked at the wooden cow in his hand and kept shaking his head. No, it's impossible. How could future generations make such a large tiller or harvester? How exactly was this done? I must study 1 or 2 thoroughly, and discover the harvesters and cultivators of future generations. Zhu Yuanzhang nodded and said, as expected, to increase autumn harvest ability, we need to start with farming tools and seeds. I used to be wrong. I only cared about farming tools and didn't care about the quality of the seeds at all. Someone, please send me the person from the Agriculture Department. Let them study the sources of planting tools and seeds carefully. This is the first step for the common people to eat their fill and become prosperous and strong. Kublai Khan burst into laughter as he watched. I see, it's no use grabbing all the crops. We need to impart planting techniques to these tribes and countries of all sizes. So when you come back to visit again, you can also grab more. It's amazing, however, local herdsmen can also learn from the cultivation of later generations. As long as the Yuan dynasty becomes prosperous and strong, who would still want to go out and fight? Wan Yenaguda looked at Guojing. And, to make the country prosperous and the people strong, it seems that the only way is to develop people's livelihoods. I have learned again. Guojing kept smiling. There were hardships beyond words. He is a martial artist and knows nothing. Ask him everything. It's better to call the Eastern evil, Western poison, Southern emperor, Northern beggar, and Middle divine weapon over and have a big battle with him. Everything else is meaningless. Li Shiming touched his head and smiled foolishly. I originally thought that food was the top priority for the people, just to make something delicious and show the prestige of the Tang dynasty. Now it seems that I am too childish. Spring plowing and autumn harvest are the foundation of the country, it's time to develop agriculture well. Qin Shi Huang smiled. The recent emperors are not doing well. Why is it so easy to learn? But that's also good, it's better than constantly thinking about those vengeful souls, right? Only in this way can one have the aura of an emperor. Li Yuanhua was thoughtful. He abdicated and became the emperor, without any pleasure. Why not go to a secluded paradise, plant some crops to cultivate your character, it will make you happier. Yang Guanghua pondered for a moment and started gnawing on the woman beside him. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration occurred. Strengthening planting can make my life more valuable, which is a good choice. Isn't it my favorite thing to see people having food and having more beauties? Lu Xiao jumped up with joy and dance. Sure, is that you? Sure, it's me. Spring plowing and autumn harvest in an instant, this is really beautiful. It's truly a divine realm, it's just different. Lu Bang looked at LVG with a smile and said, Empress, you have to worry again this time. See if you can learn how to cultivate in spring and harvest in autumn, so that you can make the great Han stronger. I also have more face. LVG had a bewildered expression on her face. Although she admired the world, she couldn't let 10,000 people cultivate her. Pooh, what did you think? LVG nodded and said, Heavy 8, don't worry, I will take it to heart. Chow Chow looked bewildered. Is it necessary to strengthen the army or the farmers to make the people prosperous and the country strong? Someone, research the sources of cultivators, harvesters, and seeds. I want to strengthen agriculture. Wait a moment, call Big Qiao and Little Qiao over. I'm up today and going to cultivate land. Chapter 6. Qin Shi Huang realizes that farming also requires cultivation of immortals. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Sun Quan said, strengthening agriculture, enriching the people, and strengthening the country makes sense. It makes sense. Come on, let's vigorously promote agriculture and let farmers take charge and stand up. Liu Bei looked at Zhang Fei with a bitter face and said, Third brother, is farming better or fighting better? Zhang Fei chuckled and said, the best way to do meat and skin business. It's profitable. Guan Yu touched his beard and said, my third brother has some opinions, but it's different. Liu Bei. Qin Shi Huang entered a dilemma. Is food the top priority for the people? Is farming better or cultivating immortals better? Is it really good to have enough food, clothing, and lust Jiao Gao? Su Fu. Farming. Qin Shi Huang roared loudly, but you also want to become an immortal, too, is not wrong. The planting industry, although it looks good, it doesn't have much significance for Lin Xian. For generations, we have been farmers, and even with our eyes closed, we can still plant. It's just that in rural areas, there are no machines of such size and convenience. I remember when I graduated, I helped my parents grow fields at home for several years, and even 1 acre of land would yield 1,500 pounds of millet. However, at that time, the equipment was outdated, and there were some empty shells inside the millet, which were not as clean. Lin Xian is preparing to change channels. After the variety show jumped out, Lin Mo was a bit speechless. Why is this something he doesn't like to watch anymore? Nowadays, variety shows are no longer as good as before. They are all made a mess by capital, completely devoid of the artistic sense of variety shows. Lin Xian is preparing to change channels, but who knows, it's the Hickey Shichi women's group playing. That is one of the top domestic entities. Among them, Angel has both talents and a domineering figure, excellent appearance, good singing skills, and even top-notch dancing skills. Lin Xian, who had originally planned to change channels, immediately stopped moving. This is his favorite. How can I miss it? Not looking at beautiful women is foolish behavior. The opening dance turned out to be a cross-dressing show. The entire group appeared in Hanfu, fluttering like a fairy descending to the mortal world. Lying trough. I only saw Lin Xian open his mouth and spit out saliva. Seeing this scene, Cixi felt a bit indifferent. In the late Qin dynasty, she was the first woman, and everyone had to bow down to her. Moreover, she believed that she was the most talented woman in the late Qin dynasty, otherwise she would not have become the empress or empress dowager. The most important thing is that he excels in his technical skills. Directly letting the late emperor die is the only chance for her to rise to power. A group of ignorant girls, unable to make it to the stage. The people of the late Qin dynasty were not allowed to see, who would see the execution of the 9 tribes to belittle the other person is actually to be inferior to them. Cixi is jealous. I can't believe that other women are stronger than her. Kangxi's face turned red and he said, "This Hanfu is beautiful, it makes me want to stop. If we could bring the clothing of the Qin dynasty closer to Hanfu, that would be even better." Zhu Yuanzhang's eyes lit up, and the women of later generations were simply too beautiful. There were 3,000 beauties in the harem, not enough to look at. But with Empress Ma by his side, he couldn't go too far. I can only take a glance at Empress Ma and then at the sky to conceal my longing. Empress Ma remained stern and didn't know how to speak. It is a man's nature to look at women. Zhu Yuanzhang's ability to do so can already be considered as giving her face. If you keep stuttering, it will be a bit uninteresting. But we cannot encourage Zhu Yuanzhang to go and see it, after all, she is the queen and cannot save face. Kublai Khan stands up immediately. The leader of the Iron Cavalry Legion, who is full of vitality, would not have made a statement when he saw this scene. Looking at the other members of the Iron Cavalry Legion, they stood up one by one, learning from their example. The Iron Cavalry Legion obeys orders, and women only affect the speed at which we draw our swords. Therefore, we cannot afford to indulge in food, clothing, and lust. We must devote our entire lives to fighting and killing. Fighting. How to fight. This battle is not that battle. Wanyan Agu's saliva flowed as he looked at it, but he was afraid that Guo Jing next to him would see it. He deliberately held a wine glass to cover it up, but he couldn't help but speak. "Anda, the future female crown prince is really beautiful, like a fairy." Guo Jing shook his head and said, "Anda, women in later generations are indeed beautiful. That's because they wear the clothes of a great Han. In fact, it can also be said that the clothes of a great Han are beautiful. If Huang Rong were to wear Hanfu, she would probably also be a great beauty." Wanyan Agu looked bewildered. Compared to Guo Jing, he has an additional imperial throne. She couldn't compare her appearance to the other person, otherwise Huang Rong wouldn't like them. His combat ability cannot match the opponent's, but the opponent is a pseudo-existence that can compare with the divine powers of the East Evil, West Poison, South Emperor, and North Beggar. What is he? In terms of women, he has a large number, with 3,000 beautiful women in the harem, and just one number. In terms of quality, he cannot compare to Huang Rong, who is the most beautiful woman in the Central Plains. Come on, let the people of Dejinzi wear Han clothing, and we will vigorously develop Han culture. Zhao Kuanyin laughed heartily and said, "Okay, okay, okay. I never expected that future generations will also like beautiful women, and they also like Hanfu, which is comparable to my taste. The most important thing is for women in later generations, why are they so good looking? The bigger part is bigger, the smaller part is smaller, and the part that needs to be raised is raised. What a perfect figure. More beautiful than 3,000 in my harem. I also need to think carefully about whether to build a Hanfu women's palace." Ha ha ha. Chapter 7. 3,000 beautiful women in the harem cannot compare to a girl group. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Li Yuan stands upright. Looking at the old women around me, I became less and less interested. He thought to himself. We must build a girl group well. Although I am not in power, at least I am also the emperor. How can we still have some face? Come on, recruit palace maids and expand the imperial palace. Li Shiming stood up, his old face flushed as he looked at Qin Shi Huang next to him. Brother Qin, do you feel it? I have already stood up. Qin Shi Huang gritted his teeth and forcefully suppressed it. Your Majesty, I have reached middle age and am no longer useful. How can I compare to you? Li Shiming didn't believe it and reached out to grab it. Qin Shi Huang immediately took a step back and said with a smile, Your Majesty. Yang Guanlin was on the spot, surrounded by a cloud of beautiful women who he considered the most graceful in all dynasties. Now when I see a girl group wearing hanfu, I immediately lose interest. Come on, create a different harem according to the appearance of the girl group. Those old, fat, crooked melons and cracked dates should all be driven out of the palace and let them live and die on their own. Yang Jian, however, stiffened for a moment without feeling anything, only seeing him shake his head. Women are things that harm the country and the people, not to be seen, not to be seen. Lu Xiu laughed heartily. Xiu, really Xiu. The women in Han-style clothing are beautiful, and finally they have shown me something meaningful. Xiu, is that you? Yes, I'm Xiu. Lu Bang looked at the sky curtain and then at LVG, feeling a bit unhappy. Before seeing the hanfu woman in the sky, LVG was the most beautiful one in his heart. An unparalleled existence in the world. Now it seems that things have changed, and things are completely different. Compared to the girl group, LVG is old, ugly, short, and fat. Thinking so in my heart, I'm sure I wouldn't say that in my mouth. Empress, what do you think? Our Han clothing looks good, but it has been widely used by future generations. That's all your credit. When you have time, you can study Hanfu well and promote it to future generations. LVG is not foolish. She can guess 80% of Lu Bang's thoughts. But she also doesn't want to tear it apart. After all, no one wants to tear their skin. This is not good for anyone. LVG nodded and said, Your Majesty is thoughtful. I will definitely focus on the production of Hanfu when I have time, so that future generations can take pride in Hanfu. Chow Chow embraces both sides, and the appearance of Hanfu makes him feel itchy with dim sum. The clothing of the three kingdoms, but left over from the Han dynasty, has a strong similarity. So the aesthetic standards are the same. I thought Big Qiao and Little Qiao were already considered top-notch beauties. Now it seems that he is mistaken. Women in later generations wear the same clothes and look even better than those around them. What's the use of looking good? Good technology is truly good. De Qiao, Xiao Qiao, it's time for you to work hard now. Don't make me feel cold. Sun Quan's eyes widened and he said, Beautiful woman, and there's more than one. It's amazing. The most important thing is that age matches my appetite, and I like mature women. Furthermore, the clothing of the Han dynasty is domineering, embodying the mature woman's temperament to the fullest. Liu Bei looked like a righteous gentleman, but in fact, he had already stood at attention. He picked up his glass and drank it all in one gulp. Women in later generations may be good, but I prefer girls. The younger a woman is, the more mellow her taste is. Only Chao Jiu and Sun Quan like mature women like her. The meaning is very simple. He likes new things, while Chao Thief and Sun Quan have no taste and prefer second-hand ones. This way, you will know that you have more taste. Especially for those who have been used, giving them to Chao Thief and Sun Quan again gives them a strong sense of superiority. Zhang Fei laughed heartily beside him. Big brother, he is truly a divine being, and his hobbies are the same as mine. If a girl appears, I will take a few more glances. If I am a mature woman now, let it be. I have lost interest. Guan Yu glanced at the sky curtain and shook his head. It looks pretty good, but I don't know if it has been developed before. If it hasn't been developed before, I won't be interested. If someone has developed it, I can take a few more glances. After all, I am a rough and inexperienced person who doesn't know much about that aspect and can't train a strong character. Speaking of which, Guan Yu still stood up. To put it simply, Guan Yu is uninterested and somewhat lazy. I like to pick up ready-made items, otherwise I wouldn't have such an idea. Emperor Qin Shi Huang was satisfied and immediately looked at Zhao Gao beside him, saying, I have risen up and have time to cultivate some dancers. The foundation of the great Qin dynasty needs someone to inherit it. Qin Shi Huang is the smartest. Knowing that distant waters cannot save nearby fires, Zhao Gao had to prepare. This not only saves face, but also is very practical. Even if the women of the great Qin were inferior to later generations, they could still relieve fatigue. It's better than just looking at it. Undoubtedly, it's Sulong. His thoughts are different. Lin Xian thought about what would happen after Hanfu. Can it be the clothing of the Sui dynasty? At this moment, the Hiki-Kiki women's group began to move. With a swipe. Shining and appearing in high-light moments. Surprisingly, it's Tang costume. Red and fiery. Lin Xian laughed. Beautiful. Beautiful bubbles. Hanfu and Tangzhuang are both one of Lin Xian's favorite costumes. Lin Xian just likes it and has long been accustomed to cross-dressing. But different dynasties have never seen such a scene before, which opened up their understanding. 8 cross-dressing shows are extraordinary, making dynasties stand up throughout history. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Qin Shi Huang looked bewildered. How was this achieved? Why changed clothes in the blink of an eye? Are women from later generations all skilled in martial arts? Or maybe it's all changed by immortals, just looking like ordinary people. Otherwise, this kind of scene cannot be explained. Zhao Gao, do you understand? Zhao Gao's face was speechless. Qin Shi Huang didn't even understand. He understands a yarn. Let him be a eunuch looking at beautiful women. Isn't that playing lanterns and looking for feces in the bathroom? Report to your majesty, I am too clumsy to understand. Su Fu, you are a cultivator. Do you understand? Qin Shi Huang was not convinced and looked at Su Fu again. In his eyes, Su Fu is omnipotent. Su Fu frowned. I feel that this cross-dressing is somewhat abnormal. It doesn't seem like it was all done in one go. But where the problem lies, he has no way of starting. Besides, Emperor Qin Shi Huang is the ruler of a country, and the other party cannot understand him. Dare he say so? He doesn't know the personalities of others, but he can see clearly the personality of Qin Shi Huang. I only saw Su Fu Wei obediently say. Your Majesty, I didn't understand. Please clarify, Your Majesty. Su Fu is a clever person who kicked the ball back and lowered his head to ask for advice. Emperor Qin Shi Huang looked up at the sky and expressed his opinion. What immortals do is something that ordinary people like us can understand. I'll go. I spoke of loneliness. He is truly an emperor. Liu Bang's popularity has become increasingly stubborn. However, with LVG by his side, he couldn't show it and could only smack his mouth and speak. This clothing is amazing. It looks a bit like Hanfu in style, but it's also a bit different. Red and bustling, it looks very festive. Compared to Hanfu, it looks superior and can also be studied well. After speaking, Liu Bang still had drool at the corner of his mouth. As long as LVG is not foolish, he knows what the other person is thinking. Probably in YY. However, she believes she is not much worse than the Hiki-Heki women's group. Isn't it just about being older? Who won't age? We must study clothing carefully if we go down. To bind a person, one not only needs to master their stomach, but also understand their preferences, otherwise things will change. Your Majesty, what you said makes sense. I remember. Lu Xiu became increasingly excited and said, Xiu'er, I'm here. I want to reproduce with you. Don't run away. Chow Chow enjoyed the service of Big and Little Chiao, and when he saw Tang costumes again, his fire grew even stronger. Damn it, it's still satisfying to have a married woman. When you have time, go look for more, one or two are difficult to unload. If there was a married woman group, it would be different. It seems that I haven't played enough, I need to learn from future generations. Well, Xiao and Xiao Qiao looked bewildered. Did they all work so hard? Is it not enough? And they both consider themselves to be one of the top women in the three kingdoms. Where can't match the combination on the sky. De Qiao snorted and said, Your Highness, I have already worked very hard. Is it not good enough to succeed? Xiao Qiao was also somewhat dissatisfied upon hearing this, proficient in playing and singing. Two people served Xiao Qiao alone, but were despised by the other party. This is too much. Your Majesty, what do you want me to do? I will do it without fail. But you cannot refute my efforts and let others replace me. Xiao Qiao chuckled loudly. Among the women around her, only Xiao Qiao is the most obedient. If there is still dissatisfaction, it's just that the quantity is not enough. How can women understand a man's heart? Okay, this has nothing to do with you, you are already doing well. It's just that I like many women and married women, which is well known. Xiao Qiao remained silent and prepared to accept reality. Yang Jian looked at the Tang costume and began to question it. This clothing is indeed good, with the advantages of Hanfu and a new element integrated inside. There is an indescribable sense of familiarity, and I don't know who created it. Compared to the clothing of the Sui dynasty, it is indeed much better and can be widely passed down. Come on, make some festive clothes and call them Shifu. Yang Guang glanced at the sky curtain and then at the woman next to him, muttering to himself. The clothes of the Sui dynasty did indeed lack some sense. The clothes in the sky are somewhat similar to the wedding attire, but upon closer inspection, they are somewhat different. More energetic, wearing it feels like a female general. Sui dynasty women were not bad either. It can be made according to the other person's appearance, which makes it more charming. Someone, pass on my decree and let the people of the Imperial Clothing Department study carefully. The clothes on the sky will be rewarded if they are studied, but if they cannot be studied, they will destroy the 9 tribes. A tyrant is a tyrant, and there is a reason why he is cruel. Reward at any moment, and destroy the 9 tribes at any moment. Who wants to serve such a tyrant? No matter how well you do, as long as something is slightly wrong or done wrong, your life is not guaranteed. What is the use of prosperity and wealth? Isn't it all just a facade? Maybe if you haven't enjoyed it yet, there won't be anyone left. This is even more despicable than painting pancakes to satisfy hunger. The appearance of the Tang costume in Chapter 9 made Li Shiming feel tough. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Li Yuan looked at the sky curtain and smiled. Isn't this my Tang dynasty clothes? And it's also something I learned from the Sui dynasty costume. Although the clothes are similar to mine, they are also different with some slight changes. Since Tang costumes are also favored by later generations, why imitate Hanfu? Why not develop Tang costumes well and let them continue to be passed down? After thinking about it, Li Yuan once again ordered. Come on, daxing Tang attire. All the palace maids in the Supreme Palace will wear Tang attire. If there are any disobedient palace maids, they will be expelled from the Supreme Palace and left to fend for themselves. Li Shiming laughed heartily and kept stroking his beard. In the prosperous era of the Tang dynasty, there is nothing wrong at all. Surprisingly, Tang attire can be compared to Hanfu. I want the whole Tang dynasty to wear Tang costumes and go in and out of any place, showcasing the prestige of my Tang dynasty. Qin Shi Huang was very satisfied watching beside him. The confident Your Majesty from before has returned. It seems that the appearance of the heavenly curtain has cured His Majesty of his foul odor of fear of injustice. Blessed is the Tang dynasty. Your Majesty is wise. Zhao Kuanyin looked bewildered. Tang attire is his most disliked attire. After the downfall of the Tang dynasty, he reformed Tang attire. Nowadays, he likes it in later generations, which makes him feel a bit confused. Is it difficult for him to be wrong? Should Tang costumes not be replaced? If it really doesn't work, why should it continue in future generations? It seems that Song Fu is not favored. Come on, people who like Tang costumes don't need to be suppressed again. It can allow them to continue. But people wearing Song costumes can also continue to wear them. The entire Song dynasty has no requirements for clothing. Just feel free. Zhao Go frowned and looked at his wife and concubines beside him, muttering to himself. Is Tang attire really better than Song attire? If that's the case, it can continue to develop. Good things cannot be buried anymore. Otherwise, future generations will say that our Song dynasty had no vision. Zhu Yuanzhang glanced at LVG and then at Tianmu. Is it beautiful Hanfu, kind Tangfu, or beautiful daming costumes? Why should future generations promote Hanfu and Tangzhuang? Is it difficult for the Ming dynasty's clothing not to look good? Empress, what kind of clothing do you think looks better? LVG hesitated. She doesn't know either. Everyone has different opinions, who knows which one looks good? It's not up to posterity the final say. Oh. There must be a reason why later generations like Tang costumes and Hanfu. How about the common people of the Ming dynasty also try to accept it? The public's vision is clear, and they cannot afford any falsehood. Your Majesty, I feel like I can try accepting Tang costumes. If the people do not object, let it continue. If the people object, then just give up. Lu Bang nodded and said, send an edict, Daming will try to accept Tang costumes. If there are any opponents, the national law will serve. I'll go. LVG has a bewildered expression on his face. It seems that Zhu Yuanzhang was determined to accept Tang attire. Completely brainwashed by the woman on the sky. Everything I just asked was just to save her face. Actually, it's just a facade. The charm of women is really not simple. Wanyan Aguda felt a sense of unease in his heart and muttered to himself. All the palace maids in the Great Jin Palace are wearing Tang costumes. Would it look very nice? This would make it even more festive. Ada, do you think Huang Rong will look good in Tang costume? Gu Jing didn't even think about it and spoke up directly. Huang Rong is naturally beautiful and looks good no matter what she wears. Even if I don't wear it, I still think it looks good. Gu Jing knew he had said the wrong thing and continued to add. What I mean is that Huang Rong's figure and appearance are both top-notch, and I like everything she wears. Wanyan Aga laughed. If Huang Rong is not Gu Jing's woman, he also likes her. It's just being preempted by Gu Jing. Li Yuanhao looked at the experts in the Western Xia first-class hall and said, how about Tang costumes? Does anyone know about them? One of the top experts in the first-class hall spoke up at this moment. It's very beautiful, even I can't put it down. But Western Xia costumes are not bad either, and a win-win approach can be adopted. Kublai Khan saw that his clothes had changed and laughed again. Brothers are like siblings, women are like clothes, they are not fake at all. Just now, it was Hanfu, but now it has become Tangzhuang. Women are fickle beings that can only be used to enjoy venting. We must never let them take power, otherwise they will be in chaos. Someone, attack. Destroy the tribe in front of you and sweep away their valuable possessions. Zhu Yuanzhang didn't care at all. Isn't it just Hanfu and Tangzhuang? What's the big deal? Even the attire is not bad, why envy others? However, women in later generations are really very obedient. If I could match him with one, it would be a blessing from my previous life. Although clothes are good, they cannot compare to women in later generations. It seems that if you have time, you can develop the daiming woman well. Let them become extremely popular for a while and become the next generation's learning objects. Huang Taiji smiled. In his eyes, the clothing of the Qin dynasty was the most beautiful, and as expected, the next step should be the Qin costume. Having confidence is a good thing, but remember one thing. The higher you climb, the heavier you fall, there will definitely be no fake. The ultimate version of 10 chapters of cross-dressing, making history numb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the beginning, it was Hanfu, which was indeed very beautiful. Now it's Tang costumes, and I think they're pretty good. After all, I highly approve of both styles of clothing. But next, if I guess correctly, it should be our Qin dynasty costumes, ahaha. Kangxi looked at Tang costumes and felt a bit confused for a moment. Can the clothing of the Qin dynasty really compare to Tang clothing in Hanfu? How do I feel so much worse? Is it possible that my thinking has declined? Is it to continue the Qin dynasty's clothing, or to continue researching a new type of clothing based on the characteristics of Han and Tang costumes? Wuhan officials remained silent, not daring to speak out. Everyone knows that the festive Tang attire, the elegant Han attire, and the Qin dynasty costumes could never keep up. What kind of 8-banner disciples? The chaotic pattern is really too chaotic. How can clothes compare to the above two styles without a unified style? Isn't this just for fun? Qianlong's mentality was slightly better. After all, the Qin dynasty had been ongoing for so many years. He can clearly see the advantages and disadvantages among them. How good or bad, fair and at ease in the hearts of the people, do what you love and let others mock you. However, the combination of women is indeed beautiful, much more so than the Qin dynasty women. If we can get it, that would be a blessing. A group of civil and military officials laughed heartily in their hearts. Who would dislike women too much? Not to mention an emperor, even if it's them, more is better. Change it for a different day, it's even fresher. What does a man think in his heart until he dies? Women, power, status, your majesty is wise. Cixi's face was full of resentment, and the Hanfu was abandoned. After all, it gave people a feeling of ethereal elegance, which was indeed somewhat beautiful. But Tang costumes are a bit sensational, and in her eyes, they are nothing at all. Come on, strengthen the production of Qin dynasty clothing and let it continue. If anyone dares to wear Hanfu, they will destroy the 9 tribes. If anyone dares to wear Tang costumes, they will destroy 10 tribes. Lin Xian was excited and waited for the Hiki Shichi women's group to continue their big makeup changes. As a result, the women's group danced gracefully in Tang costumes, seemingly without any results. Is it difficult to achieve these two types of clothing? This is too little, it's not enough to see it all. No matter how hard it is, there are still so many dynasties after the Tang dynasty. It's okay to create 2 types at will. People are beautiful and look good in everything they wear. Even if it's not worn, it looks good. With a whoosh, after waiting for a long time for cross-dressing, there was finally some movement. Only seeing all the members of the Hiki Shichi women's group suddenly became fresh, and Lin Xian's eyes lit up. I'll go. White and white, beautiful and beautiful. Is it true that he didn't wear what he said? Impossible, absolutely impossible. This will ruin the scenery. After seeing it clearly, Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, I'm wearing it. I feel both fortunate and disappointed in my heart. What's on stage now is actually the king bikini set from modern clothing. It is a royal costume that displays a woman's figure. All men like to watch. Dida Lin Xian has leaked a saliva. Only he understands this feeling. This is more attractive than any clothing. If possible, Lin Xian wanted the Qin Shi women's group to perform a hot dance in a bikini suit, and the result really came true. Let Lin Xian see his body and mind take off, feeling carefree. I've never been so nervous before. Stand up. Cixi finally couldn't sit still. The members of the Qin Shi women's group, who were already beautiful, now dress like this. How can they not be attractive? Vague and ethereal, not to mention men, even women are jealous. At this time, Cixi finally knew the difference from later generations. If possible, she also wants to dance in a bikini suit. But are you getting older now? Who did you show me? No way. We cannot let future women suppress him, we must suppress this idea. Otherwise, wouldn't Empress Dowager Cixi's reputation be in vain? Everyone in the late Qin dynasty, listen to me carefully. Women cannot wear the above clothes, and men cannot think about the above situation. As long as you let me know, killing without mercy. Kill. Can't people die too much? Who can resist the temptation of beauty? What's wrong with death? What should be seen, what should be learned, died and reborn, and 18 years later became a hero again. From then on, the late Qin dynasty fell in love with bikini sets. Emperor Qianlong's eyes lit up and he pursed his lips, muttering. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. People in later generations will still play, feeling fat but not greasy, thin but not dry, and this feeling is just beneficial. I can't see the feeling without it, but I feel particularly disgusted with it. Now it's just right. Give me the order, and in the future, the Qin dynasty's belly can be changed. It's too conservative and not a good thing. The civil and military officials were overjoyed and lowered their heads to agree, promise. Kangxi was a good emperor, but when faced with women, he couldn't bear it anymore. Stand up. Cough cough cough. Kangxi coughed a few times, his old face slightly red, and he looked awkwardly at the civil and military officials. Dear friends, do you think the belly bags of the Qin dynasty have more charm than the bikini sets of later generations? Share your opinions and don't be too conservative. After all, everyone sitting here is male, and I understand your thoughts.